Life is one big head game. And once you learn to play the motherfucking head game, it's no longer a game anymore at all. You start living your life.
Red light.
Ready to go.
Nice. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of One Big Head Game, the podcast where we try to help you. You know, we try to give you practical information as to how to overcome challenges using the power of your mind. Okay. So that's the subject matter of what we're going to be talking about today. We have a special guest, JP Boudreaux from Lafayette, Louisiana. He lives currently in Lafayette, Louisiana. He's born and raised in Youngsville, Louisiana, which if you know anything about Lafayette, that's just south of Lafayette, and it's the cream of the crop, basically, of Lafayette, right,
moves
JP?
To
That's
Youngsville
right.
to be in Lafayette.
Yeah,
basically.
Youngsville's like where the cool people live. You know?
So when I was growing up, Youngsville was still country living.
Yeah, what was that? It was just fields out there, or what?
Sugarcane fields and hardwoods. That's it.
Yeah.
So I was building clubhouses in the woods, riding my four-wheeler throughout the
Yeah,
town.
that sounds cool too.
That's
Now
how
it's
I
a
was.
full-blown city.
Yeah.
I was all the way down Barrett, and it was our neighborhood, and everything else surrounding it was cane fields, and now
Yeah.
it's all neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I grew up in Copperfield subdivision.
Oh, okay, well,
I
then
think
you
my
were-
dad built one of the first houses in the early 80s there.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
JP, I used to live about 2 streets down from you, basically, at Long
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
right
Copperfield's off of Verot down there.
I believe so. Is it?
Off Youngsville Highway.
Okay.
Oh
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's closer
So-
to where I live right now.
It's right before you get to
Copperfield.
New News.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's
That's what I
true,
was
that's
thinking.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm off Barrett. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking of another one.
Still close though, man.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, but JP Boudreaux in the house today. We really appreciate you coming by, JP.
I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm battling a little cold, so please excuse my raspy voice.
No,
Yeah.
you sound great.
He's
All
got
right.
I think JP has the good mic, so it's all good. You don't have to push it as much as me and Garrett, you know. But JP's got a very interesting story that we're going to get real deep into. I don't know the whole story, so I'm really excited to hear exactly, what your life has been like now, what some of the things you've overcame. I know a little bit about JP, and we just kind of went over some of the steps in the last probably 8 to 10 years maybe of his life. He started out in the oil field, basically.
right.
That's what kind of where he started his career. He transitioned at some point to automotive sales. And he was apparently very, very good at automotive sales. We'll talk about that a little bit. And now he finds himself in the construction industry with VE Roofing. It's a local company here in Lafayette. And he seems to be doing very well. We'll talk a little bit about that too. And seems like I'm interviewing a lot of roofers these days, I guess they're just all my friends. So,
Yeah. That's what you're in. That's who you're around.
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
that's right. So JP, let's just kind of start, at the beginning. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell everybody who's listening, what JP's about, where you came from, and some stuff about yourself. Just
All right, guys.
take it away, man.
I guess
Tell us
I'm
a
gonna
little
get a little
bit.
vulnerable here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, man.
And
This
take
is
us
what-
from high school to
Okay.
VE, pretty much.
yeah.
All right, so I graduated from Como High 2005. Did fairly well academically, got full ride scholarship. Actually passed on a full ride scholarship to Stanford.
Really?
Followed a girl to LSUE. That's okay though.
Yeah.
I was learning some major life lessons.
Yeah.
Then realized school wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
So I transitioned after a few years of college. I got hired on with Halliburton.
Okay.
Went to mud engineer school, got
Yeah.
my mud engineer certificate, continued to do that for about 10 years.
Yeah. What's mud engineering?
Drilling fluid engineer.
Yeah, that's right.
So I was focusing on the chemical compounds of the drilling fluid down the well bore, keeping that hydrostatic pressure down, keeping the well from preventing a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all remember that BP Horizon oil spill, that
Yep.
was due to miscalculations of the mud weight.
Really?
So it's a very
I didn't know that.
integral part of the drilling process. People's
Okay.
lives are in your hands.
Yeah.
For sure.
So transitioned from offshore to more on land.
Okay.
And you're gone so much, I just realized there was a lot more to life than being gone all the time.
What was that schedule like?
Man, I've worked 97 days straight without a day
Wow.
off before.
Wow.
24-hour call, typically I'd work 3 weeks, get a week off, but on that week off, you might get a call to go back out.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when you were going offshore, like you, that 90-something, that 97 days?
That was offshore.
That was offshore.
all
So
offshore.
you were either offshore or you were on 24-hour call on land waiting to go out at any time.
Well, I would work land rigs as well.
Okay, so you're working then too.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, gotcha. That's serious work.
But then over that time, I kind of developed a drug habit like a lot of people do that are in the oil field. The money's good.
What is that? Tell us a little bit about that, because I don't know much about that, to be honest with you.
You're working sometimes 20-hour days.
Yeah.
It's, started with the Adderall, the prescription pills, the
Yeah.
Lortabs,
Yeah.
just to kind of get by and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of numb the pain of being gone.
Yeah.
For sure.
Slowly over time, that habit turned into a full-blown addiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of guys that are in the oil field,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys outside of the oil field too.
Right.
Everybody's got their
So any
struggles.
kind of stressful work environment, you tend to find help with substances, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fast forward to 2010, I was working on a land rig in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I got a call about midnight. My little sister and my girlfriend at the time got into a car accident. It was, pretty bad.
Your sister and your girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay.
So my little sister didn't make it. She died.
Oh,
She
man.
was
my God.
17 years old.
I didn't know that.
Sorry to
man.
hear that.
My girlfriend was in ICU. Didn't know if she was going to make it either. So drove home, had to deal with that. Then obviously that drug habit turned into a full-blown addiction after that point.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to face my feelings, so I was using substances to numb it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few years after that, 2013, I lost my job, because I was a dope head, couldn't handle it.
Mhm.
Got into some trouble, a prescription forgery.
Yeah.
So I was going to the doctor and getting pain pills. He cut me off. I was fully blown addicted. I didn't
Yeah.
want to get sick.
Yeah.
Figured out how to write my own prescriptions. Yeah, I know.
You'll figure it out, won't
Yeah,
you?
man, you'll figure it out. You'll get that fix
Wow,
Yep.
man.
however it takes.
Yeah.
All right, so got in trouble. I ended up doing some time in jail.
Yeah.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I was able to deal with those thoughts and learn how to face my feelings without just numbing it with substances.
Yeah.
About 9 months in there, changed my life. I made a deal with myself. I would never go back to that life, never use drugs or drink again. Been sober 7 years now.
Awesome.
Congratulations,
Congrats.
man.
Then as an addict, you'll always be an addict.
Yeah.
I just learned to transition into things that serve me.
Yeah.
I took my addiction and harnessed it into a superpower.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to success and helping others.
Yeah.
That drive is still in me, but I'm using it to help myself and help others. I'm
Yeah.
addicted to exercising, to helping others, to working.
Yeah. More healthy outlets.
Healthy
literally.
outlets, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. So I appreciate you, getting vulnerable like that.
This is
I
the
don't-
first time that I've ever really told this story.
Yeah, to
so
someone-
kind of excuse me if I'm
No,
not doing a
man.
good
This
job.
is this is very good stuff, and we haven't had anybody that talks this deeply yet. I guess maybe we've been interviewing some soft people, that haven't really been through it quite like that.
Yeah.
And I have experience with that too. Maybe not to that degree, but I've reached to. When I've been in pain, I've done those things. And I've experienced it with friends
Yeah.
and people like that. So I have a little bit of experience, but I'd like to, that's a lot right there. We can talk,
Right.
we can go deep and talk about that for a couple of hours.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. So JP, when you were in, when you got in jail, basically, you were in there for 9 months. You said.
Give or
tell
take,
us,
yeah.
tell us about.
So how did that? At what point did you get in there and you were like, okay, I got to change now, or was it a couple months?
It took
after
a few
that?
Yeah,
months,
yeah, okay.
So for the first
Good.
few months, I was still, detoxing from the drugs. I was on opiates in speed.
Yeah.
So that wreaks havoc on your body. I
Yeah.
was so used to having it. I was physically and mentally hooked on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was detoxing, going through that. scared, obviously. You know, it was my first time doing some jail time.
Right.
Didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
And unfortunately, you know, my family turned their back on me.
Yeah.
But blessing in disguise as well, you know.
Yeah.
A boy becomes a man whenever he realizes nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Then once I had that realization, every day I just progressively got more positive and stronger.
Yeah.
I would journal a lot, write down my thoughts,
Okay.
face my feelings, learn how to deal with them and overcome them without numbing it.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of work, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
Because I was
Definitely.
never alone with my thoughts long enough to
Mhm.
learn how to pivot and overcome those things. I would just numb it away with substances.
That's right.
Then every day got a little easier.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot. I was exploring my spirituality, you know, meditating, praying.
Mhm. What kind of books were you reading?
I was reading a lot of self-help books,
Okay.
but I was kind of limited to what was inside the jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a lot of fiction, you
Uh-huh.
know, novels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I was able to get some people on the outside to send me some books, you know, and I was, you know, real big into self-help books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good.
Once you kind of, would you say you were gathering clarity
Yeah.
at that point? You
Yeah.
know? And you built upon that, and there's probably many stages that we can go through as to going from when you first, you know, went to jail and started detoxing, and then you started to get clarity. Now, do you think that it was just the absence of any substances that really, you know, you naturally got that? Or do you think something inside you kind of clicked? Like, explain, you know,
I
what
think it's-
happened mentally to you right there? Because you thought a lot about it. And that's what I want to know. That's what I think we're trying to get to on this podcast. So,
Yeah, so it's a little bit of all three. So, you know, I was always really a very spiritual person,
yeah.
you know, close to a higher power.
Okay.
Then as I got off the substances, it was kind of natural to
Yeah.
just deal with these emotions. But what helped me a lot was journaling, writing
Okay.
down what was going through my mind.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I would write down things I was grateful for. I was still in a bad position, but I still found a gratitude while I was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every morning, even in jail, and I still do this today, I wake up and I write 3 to 5 things down that I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And any time that I'm feeling down or low or just in a bad spot, I break my journal out and I write down 2 or 3, 4 things that I'm grateful for,
Mhm.
and it just transitions my whole thought process.
Yeah, I think journaling and talking to people is a very effective tool to actually determine what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
I've said this a couple times, but you know, myself, I feel like I don't know what I'm feeling until I can line it out. And journaling or talking to people, that's the way that you can do that. So that is a very effective way, I
Yeah.
would say, to process your emotions.
Then you could always go back
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
read on it and
Yeah.
see how
Yeah.
you were feeling a couple months ago
Mhm.
and what it took to pivot into a more positive mind frame.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd keep track of that too. On this day I was feeling really down. How did I pick myself up? What was my mind frame during this time?
Yeah. What did you write down today?
What did I write down today? I'm grateful for my girlfriend Leah.
Mhm.
You know, she's one of the biggest blessings of my life.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my job.
Yep.
I'm grateful for friends like you guys.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for everybody that's in my life, and I'm grateful for my health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful to be here on this earth still and have the ability to help others and really make a difference in the world. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Super grateful for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that everybody should be doing around this time. It's Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
And this podcast is going to be released around Thanksgiving. So, you know,
Mhm.
write down what you're grateful for.
Every day.
What are you thankful for today?
Yeah, it's so easy to overlook sometimes, man. I grew up in a really great household. You know, my parents love me, man. I have a great sister. She's very smart. You know, and I had pretty much everything that I needed. We weren't like some crazy family, but you know, I didn't need anything. You know. And I think in my adolescence, you know, myself, I kind of took advantage of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see how good that was, and and I've had some bumps because of that.
Right.
You know, it's because I wasn't grateful for that for a long time, and I feel like I'm still, you know, battling the feeling of entitlement, but that I developed as a child. You know, why is that so funny, man?
Man, I totally
It's true,
understand where
man.
you're coming from.
I mean, it is what in you know, what's so damn funny, man.
Keep on going, bro.
And I just, you know, I look at my life sometimes, and because I want to be successful in business, and I've set goals for myself and all this stuff, you know, and I'm like, man, I kind of wish that I had a harder life. It's such a stupid. It's so stupid.
No, it's not stupid.
Well, it's because you know, I look at what can happen when people are brought down to their knees, you know, and I've been brought down to my knees too. Certainly, I've had my own troubles and everything, but in fleeting moments, I have felt that I'm like, you know, maybe I would have developed different skills, different character pieces in my life if I would have experienced something like that. But at the same time, then I'm like, well, wait a second, I'm an extremely blessed person. Like, okay, maybe I don't, maybe I'm not gathering my skills from some dark, dangerous place. So, you know, I'm blessed either way, right? Like if you go through it and you've experienced a lot of hardship and going through that, I've never been through anything like that. You're grateful for everything you developed after that. You know, I'm grateful for, you know, the many things. We're all grateful for different things. You know?
But not only am I grateful for what I've developed, I'm grateful for those trials and tribulations that forged me into the man that I am today.
That's right.
But I relate to you because I was, you know, growing up, third generation oil field. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor by any means. So I never had to want for much either. And I feel 100% what you're saying. I wish that I was developed more into learning those skills at an earlier age, because I took a lot of stuff for granted too. Thought the world owed me something.
Exactly.
I had that great job with Halliburton, took it for granted. You know, thought that was normal to make 6 figures as a 22-year-old kid. Didn't appreciate it. Didn't appreciate it at all. But at the same time, grateful for what happened that put life back into perspective.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like this podcast is based off of something Goggins said, David Goggins, and Goggins, if I had to like sum up his whole thing, you know, it's that pain brings the beautiful things in life, and pain brings you the character that you need to achieve and do whatever you have to do and to insulate yourself from unexpected things and tragedies that happen in your life, so you can survive essentially. In his childhood, he had to develop that because of his childhood, you know. But at the same time, it's you know, I don't know, it's interesting because I think about it, it's like you're voluntarily going through the pain in his world with fitness and things like this, and just breaking your body down to develop and to become averse to pain in the future.
You got to embrace the suck.
But the suck,
David Goggins quote.
But the suck comes either way.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's either now or later.
It either sucks on the front end or the back
interesting.
end. You know, if you don't put in that work, your life's going to suck for the rest of your life. If you put in the work, it's temporarily suckage.
You can either control the suck, or you can
control
just let
burn.
it come to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like you beat yourself up, or you let life beat you up.
Because life is
You're
hard.
still gonna get beat up.
It's hard either way. It's hard to be successful, but it's even harder to not be successful, especially in this world.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man.
It takes work, but
so we're kind of to the point with you where you're in jail and you're starting to develop some of those healthy habits. What was it? How long were you in again?
About 9 months.
9 months. Okay.
9 months. Man.
So let's say maybe the first 3 months you started developing those.
I would say around
started getting clearer. Then
I would say around that 4th month, I was getting up at roll call, which was about 5 a.m., doing workouts, push-ups, sit-ups, squats. You know, just being as active as I could, and journaling a lot. You know, and trying to help those other guys with their mind frame.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. What was the interaction like with the other guys that you were with in jail?
Yeah.
Man, it was tough because a lot of these guys, you know, they come from nothing. So they don't really have much of a perspective on anything but poverty. So I felt kind of obligated as I was increasing my state of being to help other guys out and share with them what was helping me. Try to get as involved with them as I could, you know, doing group workouts, having group conversations about things such as being grateful and spirituality,
Yeah.
doing Bible studies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
things
more or
like
less,
that.
you became a leader and a person to go to for
Absolutely.
those
So I
things.
kind of developed my leadership skills in jail, believe it
Yeah.
or not. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that time because it showed me that I have a leader personality and people are drawn to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And through hard work and dedication, then others want to follow you.
Yeah. Did you know when you were going to get out?
I didn't, man. It's
Okay.
kind of a funny thing.
That's
so
that's a mental thing right there, you know.
the attorney that I had hired, he was a paid attorney. He was under federal indictment for falsifying community service.
Yeah.
So
For himself, like he got busted
yes,
with something,
and he didn't share that with me.
Yeah.
So I had a $250,000 bond. Couldn't get a bond reduction because the DA wouldn't open any of my attorney's emails.
Yeah.
So I should have got out a lot sooner.
Wow. Yeah.
It was, obviously nonviolent, first time ever getting in trouble. I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting to be in there for close to a year.
Yeah.
I would have been better off with a public defender, but at the same time, I needed that time to
Yeah.
develop into the man that I
Yeah.
am today.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I try not to dwell on that. Those 9 months were the best 9 months of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, let's stop and revisit that statement there. Okay. He just said that the 9 months that he spent in jail was the best 9 months of his life. Okay. The only way you get to that statement is through very rigorous personal growth.
Absolutely.
You can't even have, you may be able to say that off the cuff, maybe I don't know what's in your heart, but I have a very good feeling that everything that you say coming out, you don't have any reason not to be 100% authentic,
Absolutely.
So I just want to point that out. This podcast is about understanding your mind, getting over things, and taking the perspective that you need to move on. That right there is it's probably going to be the most important thing you said today, if I had to guess.
Then the human body and mind is a very powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So through neuroplasticity, we are able to heal our brain.
Yeah.
I was bad off on drugs for so long,
Yeah.
but being sober in jail, I felt like I was getting better every day. My mind was stronger.
Yeah.
I was firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was able to explore myself, to look within, and really realize what I'm capable of and what kind of man I am and what kind of man I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just a blank page, and I was able to rewrite my story, and I'm still writing it. This is
Mhm.
just the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, JP, how long ago was that? That was 2013?
2013 to 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after you got out, what was that like when you did get
Yeah.
out?
Got out to nothing. Had my car repoed,
Mhm.
didn't have anything in my checking account, closed down.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough, man. I was grateful that my dad let me live with him.
Yeah.
Grateful for that. But
Was that tough?
yeah, it's tough
Did
because he was.
what was his perspective on you?
All right, so
Yep.
let me get vulnerable
let's
again.
yeah, no, I'm not going to let you off, man. I
So,
want to know it all.
Both my parents are alcoholics. Grandfather's an alcoholic. I'm pretty sure my great-grandfather was an alcoholic.
Okay.
So I was raised in an environment where it was normal to numb yourself with,
That's
substances.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things got tough. You drink some Crown.
Yeah.
Something bad happens, you drink. So going back into that environment as being sober was kind of tough.
Oh,
but I
yeah.
was strong enough to not let any of that kind of sway me off of my path.
Yeah. How did you do that?
Just stayed the course.
Pure
man.
will?
Pure willpower. Stayed the course. Alcohol and drugs were still thrown in my face.
Mm-hmm.
I never
You
slipped.
had access. You clearly had access
I never
to it.
slipped once.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And that's
Were you able to continue, like when you got out, were you able to get a job right out, or what did that look like
Yeah,
as far as your career?
that was tough, man, because, and coming out of jail, obviously these major oil field companies didn't want to hire me.
Mhm.
yeah.
So that's when I found sales. Sales saved my life.
Yeah.
2015 or 16, the guy that I work for now, Mr. Nick Seymour, graciously hired me at Camping World to be a, camping RV salesman.
Yeah.
That's when I realized sales was for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your past. It doesn't matter what you've done. if you have a heart to help people, the money will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that
I
was
quickly rose, I rose to the top at Camping World. I
Yeah.
spent about a year and a half there.
Yeah.
Then I was able to transition into automobile sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Automobile sales, excuse me.
When you were at working at the camper place, were you able to move out then, or did it take some time for you to actually leave that environment?
I stayed at my dad's for close to a year,
Okay. Yeah.
Started saving money up,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
getting back on track.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that. Very grateful he was there for me and let me do that.
Yeah. Did
Then-
Did you do any meetings or anything like that?
No, so I was able to do this all by myself.
Yeah. That's
And it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not knocking meetings. I'm not saying AA doesn't work, because it
Yeah.
obviously does. But I
Yeah.
was always able to talk to people about my problems. I had
Yeah.
friends that were battling the same things.
yeah. So you had some support.
I had a
there.
support system,
Yes.
definitely. I had a lot of great friends in my corner and a lot of understanding people that didn't pass judgment on me, and I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So yeah, you got into the automobile sales, and what I was wondering at this point in your life, I know I have enough experience with addiction and things like that as to how all-encompassing it is with your life at that time, especially when you're early in your sobriety,
Yep.
right? Like you kind of have to focus on that is the most important thing, no matter what. Like, and the people that succeed with it, they keep it that way,
Yeah.
right? But like, when did you start developing some goals and setting
Yeah.
standards for yourself?
So what helped me the most was being active in the gym. So exercise has
Yeah, okay.
saved my life.
you
Every
go.
morning since that period of time,
Yeah.
I'm exercising at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Every morning. I'm starting my day off with a win. Then while I'm at the gym, I'm working on my mind frame as well. That's whenever I start the gratitude.
Yeah. Yep.
I kind of just follow a schedule. I
Yeah.
wake up, go to the gym, I journal.
Yeah.
I write out my short-term and long-term goals. That's very important.
You write
too,
those
guys.
out every day?
Yeah.
It's the
you
same thing over and over again, isn't it? You're just
Well, it
solidifying
progresses.
it, it's
Yeah.
changing a little bit.
So I have short-term goals with their 2 to 3 months, and then I have long-term goals 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I constantly work towards those goals. I come up with a plan how I'm going to attain that,
Yeah.
and that's a daily thing.
Yeah.
So
I
that
find-
when you're in the gym, you're thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah.
But not necessarily putting it on paper, or are you? in the
Sometimes
gym?
I'll put it on my phone,
Okay.
but that's whenever I find my mind is the most clear.
Yeah.
As I'm exercising or as I'm walking in nature,
Yeah.
that's when some of the best thoughts and ideas I've ever came up with do occur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Excellent.
But
Well,
I find keeping a tight schedule and not having too much idle time. Idle
Yeah.
time is the devil's playground.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very interesting
Then I
point.
forgot to touch on between sales at Camping World, about 6 months, I got back in the oil field
Okay.
as a mud engineer. I was
Okay.
working in
Got a
Carlsbad,
job.
New Mexico, the Permian Basin. But I just quickly realized that wasn't for me.
Yeah. Once you
It wasn't for me.
experience the sales and you
Yeah.
experience what that gave you.
I didn't like being looked at under a microscope. I didn't like working for other people. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I didn't
Yeah.
like having a base pay.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that your hustle dictates the income.
Yeah.
You get in what you put out in sales, and that's what I was really drawn to,
Yeah.
because I'm a very hard worker. I'm going to outwork everybody in the room.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Yeah. Excellent, man. So you had some success at Camping World, then you went back to the oil field, kind of realized that's
Yeah, it just
not
wasn't for me.
you. Then you came back, and then that's when you got into automobile sales for
Correct.
the most part. Okay.
Yeah.
What's that business like? Is it? I don't know. For anybody listening, what's the difference between selling RVs and selling automobiles?
So RVs, that's a major purchase. Your average ticket's
bigger, huh?
50, 60, sometimes up to 6 figures.
Yeah.
So people
Well,
don't
trucks these days.
millions, some of them.
Yeah, these trucks these days are $100,000, man. It's
But one of the
everything.
major difference is the time period of closing the sale. Typically, when people are in the market for RVs and campers, it's almost like selling them a home.
Yeah.
They're gathering information. They're not buying on impulse,
Yeah.
not buying on strictly emotion.
Yes.
As to cars is more of an emotional sale.
Okay.
Somebody's coming into the dealership for the first time, I'm more than likely going to sell you a car.
Yeah.
So that's the major difference.
And it's more of a discretionary thing too, kind of. I feel like, cars you have to have, right?
Right.
RVs you don't really have to have.
Yep, that's
You can
true.
rent an RV.
And then most people can't, they're not in a position to buy an RV too, so it's a much smaller, I guess, niche market.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then you got to have a 750 plus credit score to finance a camper because it's not a necessity.
Yeah.
Cars,
Oh, interesting.
people have the right to a car.
Yeah.
So regardless of your credit score, there's still
There's
a path for
ways.
you to get a car.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So would you say that the car sales was easier than the RV sales?
Car sales was easier
Yeah.
because people need a car. They
Everyone
have to have
does.
a car.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And RVs.
So your clientele is everybody.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So much bigger pool.
But the hours were brutal. So 4 or 5 years of doing 6 days a week, up to 12 hours a day takes its toll on you.
Yeah.
yeah.
In the auto sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The money was good.
Yeah.
I didn't have a life, and I had kind of got out of the oil field so I could build more of a life for myself. But I was
Right.
working more doing that than
Yeah.
I was being a mud engineer.
Yeah.
Because that second go around, I was on a 14 and 14 schedule,
Mm-hmm.
so I had 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
And then I went into working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Yeah. Very different there.
So how long did you do the car sales for?
5 years, I believe.
5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you rose to the top there too, right?
Yeah. Cream rises to the top by itself.
So you were the top salesman. You sold more cars than everybody else.
Yeah, so I was so my last year in it, I was the top salesman at the top dealership in the Acadiana area.
Okay.
Sold more cars than anybody at that group.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it was
That's
a group
awesome.
of 17 dealerships.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible,
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Yeah.
Those numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into construction and specifically roofing?
Yeah.
And let's talk about that. What was that like, and when were you approached, or when did you have the idea and you thought, okay, maybe I'll try this out?
Okay.
What was that like?
So I was originally approached probably 3 years into my stint as a car salesman. I guess it was 2019.
Yeah.
Same guy that got me into RV sales, Nick Seymour.
Yeah,
He had transitioned into roofing.
Yeah.
And he started a company. So I guess it was 2019. They had a major hurricane roll through.
Yeah.
He told me about it, told me about the money, told me how we could help people.
Yeah.
Because that's what's really important to me is helping people, offering them solutions to their problems and truly helping. That's
Yeah.
what separates decent salesman from a great salesman is the intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have intention to help you and not be deceiving at all.
Yeah.
Even in the car business, that was kind of rare, but that's what helped me rise to the top. People knew that I would be straight with them
Yeah.
and actually wanting to help them.
Yeah, whether you're communicating that directly to them with your words
I just
or
feel.
not, yeah, they can feel that.
Absolutely. Energy is huge. Being able to pick up on people's energy and their intentions without even speaking a word to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
People, they appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that's what really drew me to roofing was being able to help people.
Yeah.
You're helping people protect their family
Yeah.
and their largest asset, their house.
Yeah.
That's what really drew me into it,
Yeah.
So I had passed on that original offer.
Because you were doing
So
good.
I was
You-
doing
you
so
had a
well,
Good, you had a good living going.
Why change? Well, then fast
Right.
forward to 2021 or 2022. I don't know. Y'all got to give me some grace on the dates,
I couldn't tell you anything about my
But
life.
I've been
probably.
in roofing close to a year now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in that time period, I realized that I should have been doing this for a long time.
Because is it partly because of the money, partly because
That's a
you
small-
feel like you're really helping
I
someone
feel like
differently?
I'm really helping somebody differently. Because
I
let's
feel like-
face it, when you're buying a car, especially used cars, you know that they're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
There's a car with 150,000 miles, but that's all that this person's credit dictates that they could get.
Yeah.
Selling them a car like that and it's broken 2 weeks, it kind of takes its toll on your soul,
100%, dude. I don't.
5 or 6 years of that, I didn't like it anymore. I
Yeah.
felt like a sleazeball.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it just took its toll on me. So the right opportunity came, and I jumped on it.
yeah,
And it's the best career decision that I've ever made.
yeah.
The
yeah.
ability to actually help people is
Yeah.
huge to me. Very
Yeah.
rewarding. With the money secondary.
Yeah.
So if you define your purpose, and my purpose is to help others,
Yeah.
the money will come.
And you know what? It's like people think about roofing as just like a piece of construction, or like they think about the people on your roof,
Yeah.
right? But just for anybody out there, roofing, there's much more work that is going on with roofing than just putting a roof on your house, especially when it comes to insurance and
Absolutely.
and dealing with adjusters. And actually, you really have to have somebody that, number one, understands that process in and out, and two, is willing to fight for you day after day after day with these insurance companies to make sure everything is documented the right way, make sure everything goes the right way, and ultimately you get what you're owed under your insurance policy. Because a lot of the time, insurance companies are, I said a lot of the times, I mean all of the time.
Every time.
Insurance companies are not going to want to pay for a new roof or many other things on your house. So you really need a partner in that. So it's not just about the construction. The construction, in my opinion, which I've been in the game for a while, and I know construction is actually the smallest part of what's
absolutely.
going on.
You look at how much time those different aspects take, and
Yeah.
negotiating an insurance deal, it might take a whole month or more.
Sometimes it takes a year,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
I've got
and then
2
the install
years.
takes a couple days.
Yeah,
So,
a day or two tops, and then so much work, so much communication, and I definitely don't think that customers or consumers give enough credit for that piece, because they don't really know what's going on. It's our job to really educate them, but it's just really interesting. And the reason I say, like, is it because of that? Because I feel like you probably felt, when you started doing it, that those customers need your help more than the other people who need just a new car or something.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
you need a car, but getting someone through that entire process is a completely different obstacle than it is just finding a car.
very rewarding.
You know what I mean?
Then it's the insurance company to not pay.
Yeah.
That's how they make their profits, is not paying these claims. It's our job.
It's the only company like that.
It's our job to ensure that they act in good faith and take care of these people that are paying these sky-high premiums.
Right.
You have people where their premiums have almost doubled within a year.
Oh, yeah,
They have
for
legit
sure.
storm damage, and they're just straight denied. That's
Yeah.
our job, to take the gloves off and fight with those insurance companies
Yeah.
and ensure they act in good faith for their customer.
And make sure everybody is accountable in that situation, because it is not an easy scenario.
Not
It
easy
is
at all.
very, very, very complicated. And contractors, a lot of the time, have their hands tied behind their backs. And insurance companies can kind of run rough shop, and they can kind of do whatever they want. And then you're just like out there, and if you take one step in the wrong direction, you can get in trouble. So it's a very challenging job. So what I'm saying is those customers need our help more than many other people, even if they don't know that.
And I mean, it's their largest asset in most cases is your
Their
home.
house, yeah.
Car. You'll probably have
It might
20
be-
cars in a
it
lifetime.
might
You're only
be-
going to have one or two houses.
That's right. And those cars, they may start out as a big asset, but they're depreciating.
So your home is
hardcore.
appreciating. Then
That's
with
right.
a new roof, you're actually adding value to the
For
homes.
sure. Yeah. And if you get that covered by the insurance company, if it was rightly covered, you don't have to pay as much for it, right?
Yeah,
You've already
right.
paid because you paid your premiums.
So,
anyway.
typical situation, the homeowner's just responsible for their deductible.
Yep. That's right.
So you'll get a
That's right.
$40,000 roof for just your deductible
Yeah,
price.
1,000 to 1,000 if
Yeah, 1,000
1,000
is
to
normal.
5,000.
Yeah.
Depending
Yeah, 1 to
non-hurricane
5,000.
situation. Yeah. But anyway, roofing plug. Let's
Yeah,
get back to
so-
you, JP. Let's back
The,
getting you vulnerable.
You mentioned you enjoy roofing because you feel like you're genuinely helping people.
Yep.
Outside of roofing, you do a lot of other stuff for your community.
Absolutely, man.
What kind of things are you doing?
Very near and dear to my heart is local charities. I'm involved with Good Fight Foundation often with Mr. Tim Metcalf and Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
So the day before Thanksgiving, we're actually giving away full Thanksgiving meals to those in need. First
that's
come,
cool.
first serve at Prejean's on the 22nd. Well, this is going to come out after that, but
We'll put out a clip for it.
yeah.
Yeah, we can put out some clips. Yeah.
All right. So November 22nd, That's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We're giving out full Thanksgiving meals to those in need. First come, first serve, 7 a.m. Praise John's and Karen Crow.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's cool.
But every chance that I get, I'm giving back to my community. I'm involved with 7 different charities and organizations.
Okay.
Then we also have a bin store called Drop Dead Deals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a drop-off point for the Acadiana Humane Society. And then we also work with Catholic Charities of Acadiana through the food banks.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great, man.
So is that like that's something you're doing year round?
Year round.
Yeah.
So we're a constant drop-off point. And then for Christmas, we're going to be sponsoring several families.
Yeah.
So y'all come on in, buy some things, and then, donate some things as well, because we're going to match every donation.
Awesome.
So if you come in and buy some things and you donate a toy, we're donating one on top of that.
And where is that store at?
It is on Johnson Street, right in front of Ollie's, next to Guitar Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drop
Awesome.
Dead Deals.
Gotcha.
So we're like a thrifting treasure hunt experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fun too for the customers
No,
to
it's-
look through all that stuff.
Oh, it's fun for me too. It's fun for everybody involved. And then that's my girlfriend, Leah Miller's baby.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I'm just like the janitor, I just help when I can.
Nice.
But we'll be opening Black Friday, so we, come on out and shop,
Yeah.
and let's help some of these less fortunate families get the Christmas that their children deserve.
Yeah.
It's very important to take care of kids because it's not their fault, the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
And it's very important for us to let these children know that they are loved and cared for and that people are going to help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a community there that's there for them. And so we're in Lafayette. If anybody's wondering, this is the community we're talking
Lafayette,
about.
Louisiana. The Acadiana area is very special. I've been throughout the country, and the community here is just second to none.
Yeah. JP, have you ever wondered whether or not, or have you ever wondered where your life could be?
I think about it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day I go through different scenarios. If I zigged where I should have zagged, where would I be?
Yeah. Where do those lead you? What is that thought process?
Going
like?
back to my college days, when I said I had a full ride scholarship to Stanford, that pops through my mind all the time too. So what if I took that path?
Yeah.
What if I didn't?
Wait, you did have that?
Yeah, I had a full ride scholarship to Stanford, academic.
Academic?
Yeah.
Wow.
Passed on it for a girl.
Yeah.
But I'm
Ouch.
grateful for that too.
Yeah.
That forged me into the man that I am today.
I'm sure that showed you what you can do if you apply yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I always think back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, daily I kind of try to prevent myself from going through that dark rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Where could I have been? But I just try to put a positive spin on it.
Yeah, well, the reason I ask you that is not to bring negativity to it, but to really identify, those choices that you made that were the impetus for you becoming the person that you became, because all of those junction points, you go through life and you're going down a path and you have choices that lead you different ways, right? And your choices have led you to where you are right now, sitting on that couch, And the same thing for me and Garrett here, you know what I mean? So they're all choices, and they're all of those choices are dictated by your state of mind, your mental capacity, and what you're going through at that time. So it's just interesting to me because a guy like you, I'm sure you've thought about many things, and what if you didn't go have that pure willpower and understand the gravity of the situation that you were in jail, and you didn't take responsibility for who you were and what you did. You could very well be living a completely different life or not be here,
That's exactly right. So if I would have stayed on the same path that I was on, I wouldn't be here right now, guys. Let's face it. With all the fentanyl and things like that, I would have been right there with these OD statistics, but I refuse to let that happen.
Yeah.
Refuse to let it happen. And then something that's helped me is that the divine creator will never put a thought in our mind that we are unable to achieve.
Yeah.
So if we could think it, we could achieve it.
Yeah.
And I just knew deep within my soul that I was destined for great things.
I asked you before when I first met you whether or not you were a faithful guy. I remember I asked you that, and that's the most important question for me when I ask people, because I perceive myself and I believe very strongly in God, and And I'm wondering, because you talk about the higher power, talk about
Yeah.
what that means to you and where you are, because I look at this and I say you have been touched by God. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I mean, you had every reason not to go down the path that you have been down, and you had every reason to fail, you know, and I look at that. Anybody who overcomes that and comes out like you have came out, I refuse to believe anything but that. So
look, let's go back 37 years ago, okay? I was born dead. So
Yeah.
my mother had a placenta abruption. I bled to death inside of her. I was dead for several minutes.
okay, we
You know,
missed
did it in
that
a-
on the intro. We
did it
kind
in
of
a-
skipped over that. I guess we're all right going back
I
to
haven't
birth.
really told this much either.
Let's go, man.
You know, so emergency C-section got me out, had no blood in my body, blood
Yeah.
transfusion, came back to life.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So yeah,
Miracle.
miracle baby and a miracle life. Then when I was 8 years old, I got into a severe car accident.
Yeah.
Compound fractured my femur, broke 2 vertebrae in my neck. Thought I was going to be paralyzed.
Yeah.
Could have died. You know, I almost think that I did cross over because I saw my guardian angel.
Yeah.
His name was Rocky. Blonde hair, blue eyes. He looked like a pretty Hulk Hogan. And
Wait a second. You
I'm
were
being
8
completely
years
honest.
old?
8 years old, got into
Okay. Whoa. We're going to stop on
Let's do
this. Where were you when this happened? Were you in the hospital?
I was on Fortune and Verrott School Road
Yeah, no. Where were you when this?
when I saw the guardian angel,
Yes.
and I was in the car
Oh.
as the accident happened. I was
Okay.
in an altered state of mind.
Yeah.
And
Once
somebody,
immediately once it happened, kind of.
it's
in
all a
between
blur.
that?
You know,
Yeah.
I was still in the car and I was
But you were
paralyzed.
8 years old.
Yeah,
Okay.
8 years old. So I was stuck. I remember waking up and I couldn't move
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything. And this beautiful being just appeared to me.
Yeah.
And he said, everything's all right. You got a little cut on your leg. Just a mass feeling of calmness and love.
Wow.
He said his name was Rocky. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, a blonde Fu Manchu mustache.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I think about it all the time. So I just know that I'm destined for great things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
I want to
I
give
think we
back.
all are, you know.
We all are. We just have to harness the power within ourselves.
Did
we
you
were
tell
put here
any-
to be great?
Yeah. Did you tell anybody about this when you were a kid?
I've told a few people about it. So I was so adamant about Rocky that my parents hired a private investigator to find this man.
Really?
Wow.
That is
Nothing,
incredible.
you know?
That
And
is
it was-
incredible.
It was just as real as y'all are right now to me.
Yeah. And it still is to this
Still
day.
is. Still is.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, given that, talk to us about your spirituality
Okay.
a little bit.
So I'm very, very spiritual and in touch with our higher power. I'm just not, I wouldn't call myself a Christian,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but there definitely is somebody greater than us. This is not by mistake. We are all put here to do great things in life, and we were created in our Creator's, His image.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's JP. Most of my life, I've kind of been in the same place as you are.
Yeah.
Not super spiritual, but believing that there is a higher power, and just not committing to a certain
Right.
religion, more or less. But lately, I've been going to church more, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out
Yeah.
where do I stand. Am I a Christian, or am I just somebody who believes in a higher power?
You know, and I'm kind of weary to even talk about this a lot in fear of judgment passed on to me.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I've been vulnerable about it.
So you know
about
how
it a
it
lot.
is.
Yeah, so
But
it's
I grew up Catholic,
me too.
you know, confirmed. I did the whole 9 yards, thought I'd be married in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
You know, then you see all the stuff going on with Catholicism, and it kind of draws you away from it, you know?
Somebody talked to somebody recently about that, because I grew up Catholic and I am Catholic as well.
Yeah.
We're confirmed Catholics. We are Catholic.
Yes.
So all these different things happen in life. Everybody wants to look at Catholicism and judge the entire thing by a few people that do these bad things.
Yes.
So we're human beings, right? We have evil coming at us at every turn of our entire lives, and we are imperfect beings, And I was reminded about Judas. Judas Iscariot, we all know the story of Judas, He's the one that turned his back on Jesus and turned him into the Romans right before he was crucified, okay?
For a bag of silver.
Judas knew Jesus Christ. We don't know, we know Jesus from our relationship with him, okay? But Judas was there physically with Jesus, and he still turned his back on Jesus and turned him in to be killed. He was an apostle. He was a disciple, and he couldn't thwart the temptation of the devil and overcome his humanity to save Jesus or do right by Jesus, his homeboy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay? If he can't do it, there's no hope for any of us. There's no hope for any of us to be able to withstand the devil all the time and be perfect human beings like Jesus. We're all sinners and we all do bad things, and nobody on earth is exempt from that. But I was reminded of that, and it changed my perspective on the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church, that's what everybody wants to hone in on. Everybody wants to say, look at those priests who did those bad things. How could Catholicism be good? But at the same stretch, you could say Judas was a follower of Jesus in person when Jesus walked this earth and still turned his back on him and turned him in to be killed. How can Christianity or any of these stories or any higher power for that matter, not even Jesus, if you don't believe in it, how could any of that be real? It's judging the entire thing. And I bring that up because I've had those feelings too. And I would say most people have that feeling. Everybody tends to look at that. Everybody tends to look at politics the same way, or big companies the same way. The CEO does something bad, that entire company's bad. Never mind the 5,000 employees.
But I'm also basing this on a lot of personal experiences within the Catholic Church and people that claim to be Catholics. I'm not.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
thing.
not throwing shade on Catholicism in general. I'm just stating my personal experiences from it. Some of the worst people that I've ever known, hang on to that title.
For sure. And they're right there with Judas.
Yep. And I'm not saying I don't believe in Jesus. He was here. He was a great prophet. I just don't know for myself if he is God reincarnated.
Yeah.
How about, because we've had several great prophets, Muhammad, Buddha.
Yeah.
Throughout history, throughout ancient history, there have been gods.
It's confusing.
It is very confusing, and I'm just in that point of my life where I'm trying to get clarity and find the path that I'm supposed to be on.
Well, that's what you should do.
Exactly what I'm doing right now, JP. I think we should all meet together outside of just this podcast and talk about that a little bit more, because it's an important aspect of my life, and I want to, I want to figure out what is right for me and what do I believe,
I just have a hard time subscribing to the fact that if you don't believe Jesus is your Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. Because I do right by people. I treat people as I would myself. I live by the golden rule. And you're telling me that if I don't subscribe to that, then I'm going to a place called hell? I just can't buy into it right now. Because
Understandable.
I think that our actions and how we treat other human beings dictates where we go for eternity.
I feel the same way. I think that, if Jesus and God is as forgiving and, great as they say, then to judge a person's life based off of if they say they believe or not in them, it's unreasonable to me. It is. But to say that you're
but you're not
person,
God.
I understand that.
You believe there's another higher power, right?
Sure, absolutely.
You believe that you're not him, right?
I believe that he is within me.
Okay, but there is a separation.
I am not the creator, no.
Rocky wasn't you, was he?
I don't know. Was he a figment of my imagination that projected?
I don't know. I don't know.
We don't know.
But the reasonableness thing is the idea of a higher power is that higher power is something outside of us, that created us, that created the world.
Yeah.
And you have to submit to the fact, if you believe that you're not them. And if they created the world, they make the rules, not you. You see what I'm saying? So believing in it, if he says you got to believe in him, that's just the rules, buddy. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it, okay? and it's hard to grasp because we were made in the image of God.
So
You know,
are we
that's what the
saying-
Bible says. That's what the Bible says.
So beyond 2,000 years ago, everybody else on Earth had it wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm just
Yeah,
throwing out
yeah.
a question. You know, that's what goes through my mind.
Yeah.
You know, all these ancient gods and
Well,
ancient
the-
religions. What was that?
Well, without getting into everything that I'm not even qualified to do, before Jesus walked on earth, you know, heaven wasn't accessible to any human being.
Right.
That's the deal. When Jesus came down, him dying on the cross and sacrificing himself opened up the gates of heaven for all of the
Right,
souls.
Abraham's bosom.
Yeah, so that kind of explains a little bit of that. We don't have to make this about this.
I don't mind talking about this at
Yeah,
all.
it's very-
Just
it's-
don't judge me. Is all I'm
I
asking.
don't.
No,
I
not
don't
at all.
judge you.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
judge anybody for this stuff.
Because I'm
you
very
know?
weary to even talk about.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I'm
things
glad.
like this.
I'm glad we're talking about
Me
it
too.
because
I have
it's,
been
This is as vulnerable
very-
I've ever gotten, especially on camera.
I've never talked about this all the way on camera like this.
But I also feel that we are in control of our own destiny. It doesn't matter who you believe in or who you worship. If you don't control your life and control your thoughts,
Yeah.
you will not find the happiness and bliss that you yearn for,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
regardless of who you worship.
Yeah.
Now, Bo, you know, JP is saying that we have free will, basically.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
So,
we do.
You know,
Over the things that we can control, certainly.
yeah. So, would you say that? And I think I've read this in Mere Christianity, maybe. Would you say that we have, like, based off of what you know about your religion,
Which is not the best for everyone listening. I'm not the guy.
would you say that God and Jesus gave us the tools to, or the capacity to, you know, have free? That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The tools to be able to think for ourselves and to provide that good life for ourselves because He wants that for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that Jesus and God want what's best for us, you know.
Mhm.
But at the same time, Him as a father gives us the ability to control that free will within ourselves. We can clearly, you know, at least act in a way that we want to. We have that free will. But that doesn't change His perspective of what He wants. He wants us to understand His story and yearn for Him and have a relationship with Him and worship Him, and He wants what's best for us. But what He tells us in the Bible ultimately is what's best for you is to, you know, do this, you know, or live this way, you know, do unto others.
Yeah.
The same thing that you're talking about.
You know, that's my philosophy.
He said that that's the way
Yeah.
to live. So He gives us the guidelines, but gives us the free will to mess up ourselves. You know?
So, if you believe in Christianity, or if you're, you know, if you're a Catholic,
You're a Christian if you're Catholic.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a true Catholic.
is your destiny already outlined, or does He leave that up to you?
That's a good
I
question.
think about that all the
It's a
time
good
as well.
question. So, I'm not qualified to answer that. But what I believe is that God has a will and He has a want for what He wants out of us. Whether or not He knows everything, He knows the story of our life before
Yeah.
we live it. Probably because, you know, we don't even understand time, okay?
Yeah.
For somebody who created the world and thus created time, I think that it would be reasonable to understand that that entity, whatever it might be, understands time in a different way and sees everything. But that doesn't mean that...
That doesn't necessarily mean that
Just
He
because-
wrote that.
yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question. And I don't know,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But I know that He wants us to be a certain way. He wants us to live a certain way. And it's on us as to whether we do it or not.
Okay. I got you.
You know, then something else that I struggle with is all the suffering that's going on in the world to
Yeah.
innocent people.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a conundrum that I've dealt with ever since I was a child.
Yeah.
You know, how can this loving, all-seeing God allow this to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure y'all have thought about that as well.
Yeah, of
You know, it's
course.
only
Of
human
course.
nature.
Yes.
Of course. I think that comes back to the free will thing.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Humanity is not God. Humanity is not good.
Yeah.
They're sinners.
Yeah, evil by nature.
That's right. But capable of great things.
Absolutely.
You see? It's both. It's everything all at once.
Duality.
Yeah.
When it's like what you have right now with your life, JP, you went through the hardest times to get through where you're at now, which is, I imagine much, much better.
No, absolutely. I love my life.
Unless you have that contrast, I think. And keep in mind, I'm not 100% committed to, Christianity. This is just my thinking. If you don't have those terrible things that are going on in the world, you don't have that contrast, then it's all just baseline nothing, basically. You don't feel anything. So there's no gauge to feel or gauge to know what's good and bad and what you should be doing versus what you shouldn't be doing. There's no feelings about it at all. It's just, that's what it is. And that's no way to live. You can't just live with no feelings all the time.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, let's close the book, shall we say, on that portion. But it's really good to talk about, and this podcast. I say this all the time. It's not necessarily about this, but it gets brought up in every single one.
Yeah, and I love to hear other people's points of views on things. That's what life is all about. Is sharing things with other people.
Yeah. Well, it's good having you. I don't know if you want to say anything. Is there any other topic we need to touch on? I mean, obviously, JP, we're ending the story basically as to where he is, and he's selling roofs and helping people at every turn, doing the best he can there, and what I've started to do on these last podcasts. I don't know why I feel called to end the podcast this way, or maybe it's an alternative ending. I want to ask JP to imagine that there's someone else out there who is dealing with the toughest part of their life, and this person could be going through something that you went through. They could be going through addiction. They could be going through those hardest points in their life, and they don't have the tools. They don't have the tools to get over it themselves, and they're at one of those junction points where they could go this way or that way. And I want you to kind of look into the camera or whatever you're comfortable with, and give them as much advice as you can to get through that hard scenario.
I just want y'all to know that, excuse me. So no matter what you're going through in your life, there's hope. Don't let others judge you. Don't let them bring you down. One foot in front of the other. Continue to do the right things. If you need help, just reach out. There's a lot of people in our community and throughout the country and world that are here to help. The tools are there. The programs are there. Reach out. The windshield is larger than the rearview mirror for a reason. Don't look back and dwell on your life. Continue to look forward. Make huge goals for yourself that may even feel unattainable, but as I said, the Creator will never put a thought in your mind that you are unable to achieve.
Yep.
Help others every chance that you get. Live by the golden rule. Be grateful for what you have. Don't dwell on what you don't have. If you're battling drug addiction, there's several opportunities for you to get help. Don't wait. You're not promised tomorrow. I love you, and there's a lot of people that love you and will support you. Keep one foot in front of the other. Keep moving forward. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming, JP. It's awesome having you, man.
We'll put some contact in our podcast this time, so you can have our email and everything. If you need to reach out, just let us know.
Yeah, guys. And then locally, you can reach out to me personally if there's things in your life that you need help with. If you're tired of carrying that drug addiction on your back, reach out to me, and I could point you in the right direction. I've been there. Yeah. It's not a life sentence, y'all. I mean, look at me. I'm living proof. Yeah. I came from nothing to where I am now. Of course, I still want to get better and continue to grow, but it's night and day contrast to where I was just 6 or 7 years ago. There's hope for you.
Yeah.
If I could do it, anybody could do it.
Yep. That's right, man.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Very
awesome
cool episode. It's I don't think it'll be the last. Maybe you'll come back on again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But great to see you, man. Thanks.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
JP.
Much love.
Life is one big head game. And once you learn to play the motherfucking head game, it's no longer a game anymore at all. You start living your life.